If you crave the unknown, but fear the dark, then Delphi. After dawn is your sanctuary. As the first light of dawn breaks through the night, we embark on a journey into the mysteries that chill the spine. I'm your host, Jason King, and together, we'll explore the stories that lurk in the shadows. Each episode, we unravel chilling tales of unsolved crimes, police corruption, and heart-wrenching disappearances. Imagine a world where over 600,000 people vanished last year alone in the U.S., leaving behind only questions and heartache. Violent crime is on the rise, and the shadows grow longer each day. By joining us, you become a beacon for the voiceless, a light in the darkness. Together, we'll shine a light on society's darkest corners, uncovering the truths that hide in plain sight. From the eerie silence of abandoned buildings to the bustling streets where secrets are whispered, we leave no stone unturned. Tune in to Delphi After Dawn, where understanding is just a story away. Join us and let the journey begin. As we delve deeper, remember that every story has a heartbeat, a pulse that connects us all. We navigate through the labyrinth of human experience, seeking answers and shedding light on the unknown. So prepare yourself for a journey like no other, where every revelation brings us closer to the truth. Delphi. After Dawn is more than just a podcast. It's a community of seekers, united by curiosity and compassion. Together, we can make a difference, one story at a time. Join us and let the journey begin anew. In the shadows of the city, where secrets are commodities and trust is a luxury, one man delves into the minds of the monstrous. Welcome to the world of Jason King, a detective with a mind as sharp as a scalpel and a heart as resilient as steel. Beneath the ordinary scenes of daily life, grim tales of notorious serial killers lurk. Each one, unique in their madness, leaves behind a chilling legacy of victims and unsolvable puzzles. But the twisted minds of these murderers never elude Jason King. With every episode, the stakes rise. Every grim detail, each hideous crime, King peels back layer by layer. In a world where evil is the norm and horror is the narrative, Jason King remains steadfast. His mission? To uncover the dark consciousness of terror. His promise? Justice. This is Jason King's world, where crime is not just confronted, but comprehended. Dive deep into the chilling tales of serial killers with Jason King. The Borden family hailed from Fall River, Massachusetts, a thriving industrial town in the 19th century. They were descendants of prominent settlers in the region and were considered part of the upper class, though their fortune was modest compared to others in their social circle. Andrew Borden was a successful businessman who built his wealth through various enterprises, including manufacturing and real estate. Despite his considerable financial success, his estate was valued at approximately $300,000, equivalent to over $10 million today. Andrew was known for his frugality. He refused to modernize the family home at 92 2nd Street, which lacked indoor plumbing and central heating, despite his ability to afford such amenities. This frugality often caused tension within the family, especially with his younger daughter, Lizzy. Andrew's first wife, Sarah, was the mother of Lizzy and her older sister, Emma. Sarah passed away in 1863, leaving Andrew to raise their two daughters alone. Sarah's death had a lasting impact on the family dynamic, particularly on Lizzy, who was only 3 years old at the time. 3 years after Sarah's death, Andrew married Abby Durfee Gray. Abby became stepmother to Emma and Lizzy. Though their relationship was reportedly strained, Lizzy, in particular, resented Abby and believed she was more interested in the Borden fortune than in her role as a mother. Lizzy often referred to Abby as Mrs. Borden rather than mother, a testament to their distant relationship. The eldest daughter of Andrew and Sarah, Emma played a maternal role in Lizzy's life following their mother's death. Emma was reserved and dutiful, rarely stepping out of the rigid societal expectations of women at the time. She was deeply loyal to Lizzy and supported her throughout the family's many trials, including the murders and Lizzy's subsequent trial. Lizzy was the youngest child of Andrew and Sarah Borden. Known for her strong-willed and outspoken personality, Lizzy was actively involved in her church and local charitable organizations. However, she chafed under her father's strict control and his refusal to spend money on luxuries. Lizzy's relationship with her stepmother, Abby, was particularly contentious, with tensions reaching a boiling point in the years leading up to the murders. Lizzy Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. Lizzy, the axe falls. Again and again. Blood-stained hands, a shattered mind. Can you hear the screams in the night? 40 whacks. 41. Lizzy Borden's work is done. The house stands silent, a watchful presence on a quiet street. Its facade, once a pristine example of Victorian elegance, is now weathered and worn. This is 92 2nd Street, the Lizzy Borden house. The year was 1892, in Fall River, Massachusetts. The Borden house, a respectable family home, stood as a silent witness to the gruesome acts that would forever stain its history. The name Lizzy Borden became synonymous with murder, mystery, and enduring fascination. The house still stands today, a macabre monument to a crime that shocked the nation. Visitors speak of cold spots, disembodied voices, and the unsettling feeling of being watched. This is not just a house, it is a vessel, a conduit to the other side. Step inside, if you dare, and enter a world where history and horror collide. But be warned, once you cross the threshold, you may never escape the chilling tale that unfolds within. August 4th, 1892. The sun beat down on Fall River. Inside, a scene of unimaginable horror awaited discovery. Bridget Sullivan, the Borden's maid, stumbled upon the lifeless body of Andrew Borden. He lay sprawled on a settee in the downstairs parlor, his face disfigured by multiple blows from a hatchet. Lizzy, Andrew's daughter, claimed to have found her stepmother, Abby Borden, slain in a similar manner, upstairs in the guest bedroom. The brutality of the murders sent shockwaves through the community. Suspicions immediately fell upon Lizzy, her demeanor oddly calm and detached. The lack of forced entry and the absence of other suspects only fueled the growing speculation surrounding her. As news of the murder spread, the nation became captivated by the case. The image of Lizzy Borden, a seemingly ordinary woman accused of unspeakable acts, dominated newspaper headlines. Public opinion was sharply divided. Was she a cold-blooded killer or an innocent victim of circumstance? The trial that followed was a media sensation. The prosecution painted Lizzy as a cunning and calculating murderess, driven by greed and resentment. The defense countered, portraying her as a loving daughter, incapable of such violence. The evidence, however, was largely circumstantial. The murder weapon was never found. The jury, after much deliberation, returned a verdict of not guilty. Lizzy Borden was a free woman, but the shadow of doubt lingered. The Borden family, outwardly, appeared to be much like any other residing in Fall River. Andrew Borden, the patriarch, was a successful businessman, known for his frugality. Abby Borden, Andrew's second wife, was a quiet and unassuming woman. Emma, the elder daughter, was dutiful and reserved. Lizzy, the younger daughter, possessed a more complex and enigmatic personality. She was intelligent, quick-witted, and known for her occasional flashes of temper. Lizzy's relationship with her father was complicated by his strictness and her own independent spirit. Her relationship with her stepmother was even more fraught, riddled with resentment and animosity. Despite their outward appearance of respectability, the Borden household was far from harmonious. Tensions simmered beneath the surface, fueled by financial disputes and clashing personalities. Andrew Borden's frugality created a constant source of friction within the family. Lizzy and Emma resented Abby's perceived influence over their father. The house on 2nd Street became a battleground for their simmering resentments. Arguments over money, inheritance, and Abby's role in the family became commonplace. Lizzy made no secret of her disdain for her stepmother. The tension in the house was palpable, a heavy weight that settled over every interaction. Lizzy harbored a deep well of resentment towards her father and stepmother. She felt stifled by the constraints of her life, yearning for freedom. She resented her father's control and saw her stepmother as an interloper. Lizzy's resentment towards Abby festered, fueled by whispers and rumors. Andrew's decision to gift properties to Abby's family further alienated his daughters. This perceived favoritism deepened the chasm between them. The once close bond between father and daughters had fractured. The house on 2nd Street had become a prison of their own making. The summer of 1892 dawned hot and humid in Fall River. The oppressive heat exacerbated the already tense atmosphere within the Borden house. A sense of unease settled over the household. The Borden family had recently fallen ill after eating mutton stew. Lizzy, in particular, seemed convinced that someone was trying to poison them. But this is what is very strange. On August 3rd, the day before the murders, witnesses identified Lizzy Borden as having visited Smith's drugstore in Fall River, where she attempted to purchase a poison, prussic acid. She confided her fears to friends and neighbors, but her concerns were largely dismissed. Was this her way of trying to take attention away from herself? Only Lizzy knows the answer, and she took them with her to the grave. The incidents cast a pall over the household, deepening the sense of paranoia and mistrust. Unbeknownst to the family, a storm was brewing, one that would soon shatter their fragile peace. In the days leading up to the murders, an eerie calm settled over the Borden house. The simmering tensions seemed to dissipate, replaced by an unsettling quiet. Andrew Borden went about his usual business, his mind preoccupied with financial matters. Abby Borden busied herself with domestic chores. Emma had departed for a visit with friends out of town, leaving Lizzy alone with her father and stepmother. Lizzy seemed strangely subdued, her thoughts and emotions hidden behind a mask of impassivity. The house on 2nd Street stood eerily quiet, the air thick with unspoken words and a growing sense of dread. It was the calm before the storm. The morning of August 4th, 1892, dawned like any other in Fall River. Inside, the household stirred to life. Bridget Sullivan, the Borden's maid, went about her chores. Andrew Borden had already left the house for his morning rounds. He was a prominent figure in Fall River, a successful businessman. Lizzy Borden was awake, but her whereabouts and activities that morning would become the subject of intense scrutiny. The air in the house was thick with an unsettling stillness. A palpable tension hung heavy in the silence. Bridget Sullivan stumbled upon the first gruesome scene. Andrew Borden lay slumped on the sitting room sofa, his face and head marred by multiple blows. The blood, now dried to a rusty brown, stained the upholstery. Panic seized the household. Bridget alerted Lizzy, who was upstairs at the time. A neighbor, summoned in haste, rushed to the aid of the stricken family. The police were summoned, transforming the once peaceful home into a crime scene. The house became a place of hushed whispers and grim speculation. The search for the murder weapon began in earnest. Investigators scoured the house and its surroundings. In the basement, they discovered a number of hatchets. One, its head caked with what appeared to be blood and hair, became a focal point of the investigation. Lizzy Borden's account of her whereabouts during the time of her father's murder was both vague and contradictory. She claimed to have been in the barn, looking for fishing wire. However, her movements within the house raised more questions than answers. The investigation intensified, focusing on Lizzy as the prime suspect. As the investigation progressed, the horrifying truth became clear. Abby Borden had also been brutally murdered. Her body, discovered in an upstairs bedroom, bore multiple wounds to the head and face. The double murders sent shockwaves through Fall River and beyond. The newspapers seized upon the case, their headlines screaming of the gruesome crime. Lizzy Borden became a figure of national notoriety. The inquest, held to determine the circumstances surrounding the deaths, became a public spectacle. Lizzy's testimony, filled with inconsistencies, did little to quell the growing suspicion. The murders of Andrew and Abby Borden became the talk of Fall River. Whispers followed Lizzy Borden wherever she went. The community was divided. Some clung to the belief in Lizzy's innocence, seeing her as a victim of circumstance. Others saw her as a cold-blooded killer. Rumors swirled, painting a picture of a household teetering on the brink of disaster. Lizzy's strained relationship with her stepmother was no secret. The evidence against Lizzy, while circumstantial, was mounting. On August 11th, Lizzy Borden was arrested for the murders of her father and stepmother. The news of her arrest sent shockwaves through Fall River and reverberated throughout the nation. The image of Lizzy, clad in black mourning clothes, being led away in handcuffs, became a defining moment in the case. The Borden murders, already a sensational story, now took on a new level of intrigue. The trial, set to begin in June of the following year, promised to be a media spectacle. Lizzy Borden was about to have her life laid bare for the world to see. Her fate hung in the balance. The trial of Lizzy Borden commenced on June 5th, 1893, in New Bedford, Massachusetts. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation. Reporters from across the country packed the benches. The eyes of the nation were fixed on Lizzy. Lizzy, dressed in somber black, maintained composure. Public opinion remained sharply divided. Was she a cold-blooded killer or wrongly accused? The prosecution presented a compelling narrative. They highlighted her strained relationship with her stepmother, her cold demeanor, and inconsistent accounts. The defense argued for Lizzy's innocence. They emphasized the lack of direct evidence, the reliance on hearsay, and alternative suspects. The prosecution's case hinged on establishing a motive for Lizzy to commit such a gruesome act. They painted a picture of a dysfunctional household, rife with resentment and simmering tension. They highlighted Lizzy's strained relationship with her stepmother, portraying Abby as a hated figure. Testimonies from neighbors painted a picture of a strained household. The prosecution suggested Lizzy's resentment towards Abby, fueled by financial disputes, culminated in the violent act. The defense countered the prosecution's narrative with a vigorous defense of Lizzy's innocence. They argued that the prosecution's case was built on a foundation of speculation and conjecture, lacking any concrete evidence directly linking Lizzy to the murders. They emphasized the lack of a murder weapon, the absence of blood-stained clothing, and the lack of any witnesses to the crime. The defense team meticulously chipped away at the prosecution's timeline, highlighting inconsistencies and gaps in their narrative. They provided alternative explanations for Lizzy's behavior. attributing her seemingly odd demeanor to shock and the Victorian-era societal expectations of women's emotional restraint. They presented Lizzy as a devoted daughter, a victim of circumstance caught in a web of suspicion, spun by a community eager to find a culprit. They reminded the jury of the presumption of innocence, urging them not to be swayed by public opinion or the prosecution's suggestive narrative. The defense also introduced the possibility of alternative suspects, suggesting that the murders could have been committed by an unknown assailant, possibly someone with a grudge against Andrew Borden, or someone seeking to rob the wealthy family. After weeks of testimony, the case went to the jury. The 12 men deliberated for a little over an hour. Their verdict, not guilty, sent shockwaves through the courtroom. Gasps, murmurs, and the rustling of newspapers filled the air. Lizzy Borden was a free woman. She was free, but the shadow of suspicion would forever linger. The verdict in the Lizzy Borden case did little to quell the public's fascination with the case. If anything, it only served to amplify the debate surrounding her guilt or innocence. The nation remained deeply divided, with some believing that justice had prevailed, while others maintained that Lizzy had gotten away with murder. Newspapers across the country, both large and small, splashed the verdict across their front pages. Editorials debated the merits of the case, the strength of the evidence, and the societal implications of a woman accused of such a heinous crime. The Lizzy Borden case had become a cultural touchstone, a Rorschach test upon which people projected their own beliefs and anxieties. For some, Lizzy Borden became a folk hero, a symbol of female empowerment in a patriarchal society. Her acquittal was seen as a victory against a system that often sought to control and punish women who dared to defy societal expectations. Others, however, saw her as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the darkness that could lurk beneath the veneer of respectability, and the potential for violence that existed within even the most seemingly ordinary individuals. The courtroom doors closed on Lizzy Borden's trial, but the echoes of that summer's horrors lingered. Acquitted, yes, but never truly free. The cloud of suspicion, that unshakable doubt, followed her like a specter. Life in Fall River after the trial was a peculiar purgatory. Legally exonerated, Lizzy was nonetheless deemed guilty in the court of public opinion. The town that had once known her as the respectable daughter of a prominent businessman now regarded her with a mixture of morbid curiosity and outright fear. She attempted to resume a normal life, but the stain of the murders proved impossible to erase. The whispers started subtly, hushed voices trailing off as she passed on the street. Stares lingered a moment too long, filled with unspoken accusations. The Borden name, once synonymous with wealth and standing, now carried a chilling weight. Shopkeepers treated her with a strange mix of deference and disdain. Invitations to social gatherings dwindled, replaced by cold silence. The social isolation Lizzy endured was profound. Former friends distanced themselves, unwilling to be associated with the woman now infamous throughout the nation. The warm embrace of the community, once a source of comfort and belonging, had turned cold and unforgiving. Even within the walls of her own church, whispers followed her like shadows. The pews that once surrounded the Borden family now remained conspicuously empty whenever Lizzy took her place. Religious solace, often a refuge for the ostracized, offered her little comfort. The weight of her isolation bore down on Lizzy. Her once vibrant spirit, known for its flashes of wit and independence, seemed to dim under the oppressive judgment of her community. She became a recluse, withdrawing further into the confines of her home, her world shrinking with each passing day. The town of Fall River, for its part, struggled to reconcile with its own complicity in the court of public opinion. The verdict had brought an end to the legal proceedings, but offered no closure to the mystery that gripped their collective consciousness. Lizzy Borden, the embodiment of that unresolved trauma, became a convenient scapegoat, a focal point for their fear and unease. Seeking refuge from the relentless scrutiny and judgment of Fall River society, Lizzy made a bold move. She purchased a stately mansion in a more affluent part of town, christening it Maplecroft. It was a defiant act, a declaration that she would not be defined by the whispers and accusations that followed her. Maplecroft became her sanctuary, a world away from the stifling confines of the house on 2nd Street, forever etched in the annals of true crime. The grand Victorian mansion, with its elegant furnishings, sprawling gardens, and air of quiet respectability, was a far cry from the grim simplicity of her former home. Here, surrounded by luxury and attended to by a loyal staff, Lizzy attempted to rebuild her life. She embraced a life of quiet indulgence, attending the theater, hosting small gatherings for a select few, and involving herself in charitable causes. But the past, like a persistent shadow, refused to be outrun. Maplecroft, for all its grandeur, could not erase the stain of suspicion that clung to Lizzy. The whispers followed her, albeit more subdued, echoing through the high-ceilinged rooms and along the quiet corridors of her new home. Despite her efforts, Lizzy found true acceptance elusive. The elite kept her at arm's length. Whispers followed her, carried on the winds of rumor. She poured her energy into charitable works. She donated generously to local organizations, her name appearing on lists of benefactors. But even these acts were met with suspicion, seen as attempts to buy her way back into society. Lizzy's life became a series of contradictions, a struggle between who she wanted to be and her imposed persona. She longed for normalcy and companionship, but the past refused to be erased. Her every move was chronicled in newspapers, her every misstep magnified and dissected. The woman who valued privacy now lived under a relentless spotlight, her every action subject to public scrutiny and judgment. Lizzy Borden lived out her days at Maplecroft, a solitary figure in a grand house forever marked by the events of that sweltering August in 1892. She died on June 1st, 1927, at the age of 66. Her passing noted with a strange mix of curiosity and indifference by the outside world. The town of Fall River, once captivated by her story, seemed content to let her memory fade into the annals of true crime. But the story of Lizzy Borden, like the house on 2nd Street, refused to be forgotten. The mystery surrounding the murders, the unanswered questions, and the enduring fascination with the woman at the center of it all continued to capture the imagination. Over the decades, the case has been the subject of countless books, films, plays, and television shows. Theories abound, each attempting to shed light on the events of that fateful day and the motivations of the woman who wielded the axe. Was Lizzy Borden a cold-blooded killer, driven to murder by greed or resentment? Or was she an innocent victim of circumstance, wrongly accused and forever condemned by the court of public opinion? The answer, lost to time, lies buried beneath layers of speculation, conjecture, and the enduring mystery of the human heart. Lizzy Borden's legacy, like the chilling tale of her alleged crimes, continues to fascinate and haunt us, a reminder that sometimes the most unsettling mysteries are those that remain forever unsolved. The house on 2nd Street stood silent once more. Lizzy Borden was gone, her troubled life ended, but the echoes of that horrific August remained. The building, imbued with the energy of its violent past, transitioned from macabre crime scene to a hotbed of paranormal activity. It began subtly. Visitors to the house, now a museum, reported strange occurrences. Cold spots, sudden drops in temperature despite the season, sent shivers down their spines. Disembodied whispers, too faint to decipher, seemed to emanate from the very walls. Objects moved mysteriously. A rocking chair in what was once Abby Borden's bedroom swayed gently, as if propelled by an unseen hand. Doors creaked open and slammed shut, seemingly of their own accord, the sound echoing through the empty halls like ghostly footsteps. The energy within the house was palpable, a heavy, oppressive presence that clung to the air like stale perfume. It was as if the spirits of those who had met their untimely end within its walls were trapped, their restless souls unable to find peace. Reports of paranormal activity at 92 2nd Street grew frequent and intense. Psychics conducted seances, attempting to communicate with trapped spirits. They emerged with chilling tales of restless souls. Visitors, eager to experience the phenomena, flocked to the house. Many left, convinced they had encountered something unexplainable. Cameras captured strange anomalies on film. Unexplained orbs of light danced across photographs. Shadows moved independently, suggesting human figures in unrest. The house had become a magnet for the paranormal. The past refused to stay buried, drawing the curious and courageous. Section 3. Encounters with the Borden family. The Borden family spirits captivated and terrified visitors. Andrew Borden's presence was marked by a sudden chill and the tapping of his cane. Abby Borden haunted the upstairs guest bedroom, manifesting as cold spots and whispers. Lizzy's presence permeated the house, with a playful spirit in the playroom and a calculating presence in the hallway. The Borden family, in death as in life, remained bound to their home. Section 4. A night in the Borden house. Today, the Lizzy Borden house stands as a bed and breakfast, drawing visitors from around the world. Guests seek a glimpse into the past and a brush with the paranormal. The house offers a unique and unsettling experience. The bedrooms retain an air of faded elegance, but a palpable tension lingers. As darkness descends, the house comes alive with sounds. Floorboards creak under unseen footsteps. Distant whispers emanate from the walls. One can almost imagine the swish of skirts and the clang of a dropped utensil. Many guests come armed with cameras, hoping to capture evidence of paranormal activity. And often they are not disappointed. EVP recordings pick up disembodied voices. Cameras capture strange anomalies on film. A night at the Lizzy Borden house is an experience that stays with you. Some mysteries transcend time, reaching out from beyond the grave. Section 1. A legacy of horror and intrigue. The Lizzy Borden house stands today as a testament to a story that continues to fascinate and horrify. This unassuming home, forever linked to a brutal crime and a sensational trial, has transcended its ordinary beginnings to become a cultural icon. It is a place where history and horror intertwine, drawing visitors into a world of mystery and speculation. The events of that sweltering August, the brutal murders, the controversial trial, and the enduring question of Lizzy Borden's guilt or innocence continue to captivate the imagination. Section 2. The enduring allure of the unknown. The Lizzy Borden house's allure lies in its unanswered questions and chilling tale. Was Lizzy a cold-blooded killer or an innocent victim? The mystery deepens with time, fueling endless debates. The house stands as a reminder of the darkness beneath the ordinary. It beckons us to confront our deepest fears. Lizzy Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. Lizzy, the axe falls. Again and again. Blood-stained hands, a shattered mind. Can you hear the screams in the night? 40 whacks. 41. Lizzy Borden's work is done. In a shadowy underworld of crime, where the ordinary meets the extraordinary, you've been journeying with me, Jason King. We've dissected the minds of some of the most notorious serial killers, peeling back the layers of their darkest secrets. Every shadowy corner we've turned, every chilling confession we've analyzed, has been a step deeper into the abyss. But remember, the abyss also gazes back. So, brace yourself as we prepare to dive even deeper. Next time, we'll unravel a tale so twisted it will make your spine tingle with anticipation. An enigma so intricate it will have you questioning everything you thought you knew. Until then, keep your eyes open and your mind sharp. This is Jason King, signing off.